The Celtic Exchange, a fresh insight on Celtic Football Club.
The one-each draw with Rangers at Celtic Park leaves Celtic fully in the Scottish Premiership driving seat with a lead of 6 points and just 3 games left to play. Fair play to Rangers though, who won the inaugural We Had a Decent Spell in the Second Half trophy, and sure that's winging its way over to the south side as we speak. This is episode 67 of the Celtic Exchange Weekly. This is Tino, and this week I'm joined by James and Paddy to cover all things Celtic. James, it was a game Rangers had to win but couldn't. What's your take on where that now leaves us?
That's just it, you know. Draw's a good result for us, terrible result for them, and that's how it panned out. I thought we were pretty strong for the first 60 minutes. Rangers only seemed to come at us for 20 minutes, half an hour, and talking to Paddy just before he came on air there, I felt that if they'd showed that the energy of they closed the game with from the start, they wouldn't have finished it. So they'd have puffed themselves out at half time. So they seemed to be their game plan to get as far into the game as they could and then raise the energy. So I thought we were really strong and well worthy of the draw.
Yeah. Paddy, Celtic extended their unbeaten league run to 29 games. Not bad for such an average side.
Average side, it's now 6 points. Still 6 points ahead, and we're just about to clinch this title. Absolutely. They were solid yesterday. I think that obviously it got a bit nervy near the end, and rightly so. Rangers getting an equaliser, their tails were up, and kind of what James is touching on there, the reserves kind of kicked in, and basically knowing that this is the last throw of the dice for trying to win that league. So yeah, we dealt with it well. We've got a good keeper for a reason. He pulled off some very good saves, and I just thought, like, as a whole, we didn't play our best game yesterday. I just think that we were just solid enough though, just to make sure that we weren't going to lose the game. So yeah, I'm very happy with it. It was a bit deflating, I think, come the end of the 90 minutes, but in hindsight and being able to sit and reflect about it all now, after everything this team has given us this season, I'm not complaining at all.
Yeah, I think so. I think when you take a step back, out with the the detail and the drama of the 90 minutes, you take a step back and look at it, it's absolutely fine. You could look at it in a couple of ways. Had we drawn at Ibrox a number of weeks ago and then won yesterday, you end up in the exact same position as you are today. So that's the difference or not. Even just looking at the last 3 games against Rangers in the league, Celtic 7 points, Rangers 1 point. That's the difference. What we'll do, we'll look at Sunday's game in a bit more detail here, and we can then assess what it does all mean in the bigger picture a bit later in the show. James, your thoughts first of all on the lineup and the opening exchanges?
Yeah, only one potentially you would describe as a surprise was O'Reilly for Rogic. Rogic likes this tie. I think they're getting to be much of a muchness, and I think they've both got important summers ahead of them to rehabilitate, improve, learn the system better, all that stuff. And the only other one was we bit debate amongst ourselves between Giakoumakis and Kyogo. The rest of the team picked itself, so there wasn't too much to talk about there. Yeah,
Paddy, what about the midfield? I know you've got certain thoughts on O'Reilly, which we'll maybe get to, and Hatate. Hatate's been spoken about, in the last couple of weeks by us and various other shows because he himself has puffed it and he's put the paws up and said, I'm tired here. And it showed. He didn't have a great game. I think he's a brilliant talent. I think he's going to be brilliant. We've talked last week about the benefits of him and various others getting a full pre-season under Ange and a rest as well, at some point. But at the moment he is tired, and I would suggest he needs taking out the firing line at this moment in time. But what's your thoughts on him and O'Reilly?
So I think with Hatate, I think you're spot on. I think now that we're possibly going to see things through in the next coming weeks, to give him a bit of a rest. Yeah, that's fine. If he feels fit and ready enough to play, then he should be in the team, absolutely. I think he's a very good player. I do think a full pre-season for him is going to be a huge benefit. I also was finding out yesterday he's not played a full season of football in his career, and I think everything has kind of came quite quickly to him, and especially the pace of the game here. I think is possibly a lot quicker. It's a lot more frantic, a Scottish game of football, in my opinion. And I just think, these things will come to a player like Hatate. Technically, we know how good he can be, but it definitely looks jaded and definitely well in need of a rest. We were kind of talking just before we come on about Matt O'Reilly, and I'm happy to be proven wrong with these things. My worry with O'Reilly is that I think he's very clever. I think there's definitely a good footballer there. I'm just worried if he's quick enough. I don't know if he's got the engine that maybe that cut above to break down a midfield like what we're up against yesterday. For me, it's all good saying that these guys are going to do well against the league, but we've spoke about it this year about how good it would be to see us progress in Europe. And I don't know if O'Reilly's the type of player that unlocks defences, unlocks midfields when it's probably a higher tempo, a very good quality of opposition most times when you're playing in Europe. I'm not entirely sure if he's the guy who's going to do that for us. I'm happy to be proven wrong though.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. It's valid. We've obviously not seen too much of O'Reilly. We've seen flashes of brilliance, flashes of stuff where he maybe looks a wee bit off it as well. Again, it goes back to the fact that James, he will be a far better version of himself once he's had that, time to bed in, that pre-season work. He's only been a Celtic player for a few months. It's a very short space of time. He's 21 years of age as well. He's still developing. He's still finding his feet. He took that risky move to leave Fulham in the Championship to go to MK Dons in League One. So he, like Hatate, who's 2 to 3 years older, still in the early stages of his senior footballing career. And valid points by Paddy. I do think he'll come good, and I think we'll see the best of Matt O'Reilly as we move into next year.
That's my take on it. It's very early doors, I would say. I agree with Paddy's points. I think there's a lot of development ahead of him, but it's early doors. What I'd like to see from him and other players, we need to be careful this doesn't become part of the team culture, is like McGregor goes into tackles, other players aren't. O'Reilly's a wee bit like that. He's maybe not going in quite as committed as he could. Maeda scores a goal if he's committed on that one at the end of the first half, things like that. And just watching that doesn't become cultural. If you're going to get hurt, but don't pull out it, So there's a bit of that as well. But mostly with O'Reilly, it's development on his football skills and developing the system. But yeah, I think there's definitely talent there to be seen.
Yeah, and Paddy made the good point. There's a frantic nature about the game in Scottish football, and that can take time to adapt to and to adjust to, because it's one thing having the ability and the technical ability and the skill, but if previously you were getting 2, 3, 4 seconds in the ball, and now you're getting 0.5 seconds before somebody's snapping at you, it can make a difference to your game, and that can take a bit of time. But there's no doubt Hatate and O'Reilly, seriously talented lads, so let's hope that they can kick on and take things to new levels next season. Going back to the game itself, so obviously Celtic take the lead in the 21st minute. It's a very well worked goal. Taylor doing well again. Biff will be pleased. Finds Maeda in good space. I thought he done particularly well against Goldson. Found his feet, dropped the shoulder, just got the yard past him, and fires over a very inviting cross, and it's a tidy finish by Jota.
It's lovely, and yeah, I totally agree with you. I think Maeda definitely coming inside a lot more than what Jota was doing at the other side, which, nothing against Jota. Jota was one of our best players yesterday. I just liked how Maeda was he had Goldson thinking quite a lot, because not only were they trying to deal with Kyogo, they knew that basically Maeda was coming in between Tavernier and Goldson. It was a bit of a headache for them. I also thought, after, like you say, a lovely finish for Jota, thought it was very clever from us straight away to switch the two of them. They switched
immediately,
over.
yeah.
And I thought, right, he's giving them a new headache in a sense. What we were trying to, in a sense, that last 5 to 10 minutes of the game, the first half, we're trying to push for the second. I think we should have got it. Generally, I think what I was kind of talking about earlier on is that a bit more risk taking for the team yesterday and a bit more clinical. We run away with that. That's just kind of the way the game went for me in the first 60 minutes, like we were talking about. But it's very refreshing to see Jota kind of finally show up against them in a sense. I thought he was very, very good yesterday.
He was, and he picked up man of the match, and I think it was just puzzling that people were questioning him after a poor game at Hampden. He did have a poor game, but you cannot look at him across the context of this whole season and say that guy's not a serious talent. Interesting how similar that goal was to Abada's goal at Celtic Park in February. Can't remember who it was, but one of the players has been out speaking recently saying that that's something they absolutely work on, kind of ghosting in at the kind of blind side of the left back. We nearly get caught in our own way through Ralston, Kent coming in on Ralston dreaming a wee bit. But to Paddy's point, James, after we've taken the lead, we've had a few big chances. Maeda's header before the break's the biggest one. He's bottled that, right?
Yeah, he has.
He's thought twice about the goalkeeper coming out. Jota's had a great chance with the header.
Yes.
Hatate's curled it across to him. He could have chested it.
I think he should have taken it down.
I thought he's been a wee bit kind of cheeky in a nice way, saying I'll just take it early and catch the goalie off guard.
Possibly,
got it all wrong, can I?
Get it on target.
Yeah.
Be cheeky by putting it in the net of your head.
Yeah.
And Kyogo could have done better. He was flagged offside, but you know the one I'm talking about, where Maeda finds himself in space. You can't be offside from that. You're looking right across the line. You shouldn't be offside. And he's missed the chance as well. But that's the last I'll ever criticise Kyogo, certainly today.
Did you see how happy he was last night with his awards?
I've just seen pictures and I've not seen any footage. Delighted.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so we'll get to all the award stuff in a wee bit as well. But the bottom line is, and as Paddy says there, James, you put those chances to bed, it's a completely different game. 2-0 at half time, dare I say 3-0 at half time, it's absolutely all over. But like any team at any level of football, if you find yourself still in the game, an hour gone, whatever, you know, I think Rangers scored kind of 20, 25 minutes to go. You get that wee bit of hope, and that's what's led to that. But Celtic could and should have put it to bed earlier.
Yeah, even in the first half of the second half, you know, with chances to finish it off. One goal's never enough, like you say. And yeah, we need to be more clinical, and that's something to work on in the summer. Don't necessarily think it's a personnel issue, more just working in the system, knowing where each other are. You know, even the team that went out yesterday, those guys have had disruptions to their play between injuries and all sorts throughout the season. So it's not like we've been playing 9 months together with that, you know, first 11. So there's a lot more to come in the summer, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Ange does, both in terms of personnel and, you know, drilling the system into the guys. Yeah,
definitely. Paddy, as we've discussed, Rangers did come out, you know, certainly for the second half of the second half, you know, the latter stages, the last 20-25 minutes, they got their goal, as I say, Sakala, 20 odd minutes to go. We were sluggish. What do you put that down to? Do you think that was more a mental thing, maybe a wee bit of nerves kicking in, or what's your explanation for it?
Yeah, I think the full 90, across the full 90 minutes yesterday, I think we were just a little bit nervy. I kind of think it comes from a lot, I've said this before in the show, a lot of these guys, you know, that are new to the team, they've not all won trophies, they've not all seen a full season out. And I think that, you know, once they learn that that's what's required here, and that's what the fans are wanting, and they start to learn how to properly deal with the pressure, that starts to show in their performances. I think yesterday I just thought it was just a bit more like, we've been winning this, we're going to win it, and then when the goal came, it sucked the energy right out of them, and they thought, right, let's just settle for the draw. 2 or 3 of them were still wanting to go for the win. Joe Hart was very quick off the mark and everything. But that's the winner. That's what I'm talking about. That's the guy that's the psyche wants to kind of keep the game going. But a few of them were quite just like, let's take it easy. A lot of the time when we had the ball in the last 25 minutes, we were playing it back and recycling it a lot more than we were doing in the first half.
I think Starfield was starting to obstruct Hart at goal kicks.
He's like, slow down.
Just try block it. Standing a couple of yards in front of it. It was interesting. Joe Hart was interviewed after the game. He speaks very well. You know, they asked him about, you know, how good would it be to win a league title, and he says, we'll maybe speak about that in the next couple of weeks. You know, he wasn't entertaining that at all, which was good. But he also said that we don't play to draw, we play to win, and that's it. So, you know, one each, and all the players across the board, they're not thinking about one each. They're thinking, even though, you know, Rangers have missed a couple of chances and come very close, we're thinking, right, that's done. How can we move on? What I thought was really interesting on that note, actually, so we talked about Tony Ralston sleeping a wee bit to let Ryan Kent in the first half. I seen that back earlier today, just watching the highlights. So, as we know, Kent comes in blindside and executes it wrongly, and it goes by the post. As soon as it goes by the post, Carter Vickers is looking to berate Ralston, you know, to have a word with him about what he's doing. Aye. Ralston's automatically thinking about, how can I get out quickly to receive that second pass? So he's made the mistake, he knows that, but somewhere in his head he's went, that's done. What's next? And I thought it was quite impressive from a mental point of view, and I think that's what's happening across the board, because Rangers had chances and half chances in that second half, and Hart and that aren't doing the whole, that was lucky there. They're just doing, get the ball down, again, can we move again?
Spot on. I totally agree with what you're saying there. I don't think all of them were switched on enough yesterday to do that, though. And
you need all of them.
Yeah. And I thought, like, sometimes from goal kicks, we were quite slow in setting up and bringing it out. Just a bit more urgency probably required. Again, I'm not having a go at this team at all after the season they've given us. It's just one of those ones you kind of caught what Rangers were trying to do. Just basically get into the right areas at every goal kick. They were quick off the mark and doing it. And I just thought it was kind of pulling us back and stopping us from playing a normal game, you know. But again, we learn from this. We just learn from it and make sure it's done right the next time.
You win or you learn, Paddy. That's the rule. But I think you're right. I think, you know, if we are doing this quick response, by kicks getting taken immediately, free kicks getting done sharp, you need 11 bodies knowing that that's happening. You can't have anyone doing their laces or fixing their socks. Everyone needs to be switched on at any time, across the game. Paddy mentioned, James, the pressure that maybe got to a couple of players. Did you feel that? Do you think one or two of them maybe struggled a wee bit given the situation?
I don't know. I think it was more just they've put an awful lot into the season, and there's maybe a wee bit of mental exhaustion creeping in, and it's the atmosphere coming into the game yesterday was one of anticipation. So maybe it was a bit of a shock to the system. I wouldn't say the players would have fallen into that kind of mindset, but as you said, we're winning this, and then we're drawing this, and maybe just sets a wee bit of panic in. But I didn't think they buckled under pressure, because when Rangers came at them and they threw everything they had at us in the last 20 minutes and they didn't score any more goals, so whatever pressure was there, they soaked it up and dealt with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Paddy, just coming to you as a goalkeeping aficionado, a couple of folk have suggested the cliche is that a goalie shouldn't get beat at his near post. I've watched it back a few times. I just think it's a really decent strike at pace in a good area. What is your take on it?
I should save it.
Oh,
aye.
Really?
I really like, and I do. We were kind of talking before we come on air, and it's one of those ones. He's quite an unpredictable player, Sakala, and I'm wondering if he's generally meant to put it in that near post. Like, do you know what I mean? He's just
I know exactly what you mean.
Hit and hope, I think,
Yeah.
and it's possibly Joe Hart is maybe using his experience in reading. Right, he's going to come across me, but yeah, I think you need to get down for that. He was very close as well. He was.
Yeah.
He should be there.
I mean, I spent a bit of time last week talking about how rank rotten Sakala is, and I stand by that. I think from a striking point of view, though, all he's done is he's got the head over it, got some pace and some power on it and hit target, and that's all he should be doing. Any decent striker will tell you to go across the goalie there, and if you're doing things by the book, that's where he should have put it. That's maybe where he tried to put it. I'm not going to knock his goal right. He's a decent striker, all that kind of stuff. Just try to cover myself really for last week. But I do think it's come at Joe Hart from, I don't know, at an angle, maybe 10 yards, very fast, and he's got a foot the wrong side, but it all happens very quickly. But what do you think, James? Is it
I was with you. I take Paddy's goalkeeping union credentials very seriously, but as he's covered it well, if not perfectly. He's got a lot of things to think about. I think initially as well, it's Ralston and Catterbackers get themselves a wee bit mixed up in terms of who should be covering who and stuff. They didn't quite sort themselves out there, which let Sakala in and go, but I just closed his eyes and leathered it, and there you go.
100%. What I was saying as well, you don't know what his weak foot is. He's one of the players like you don't
both his weak foot.
Aye. You don't know what his stronger foot is.
Kind of back on what we were saying earlier on. If they think he's their striker for next season, please.
Aye,
brilliant. I think he could hit that shot 100 times and one of them would have went where it went on Sunday. So anyway, we'll move on for that. Celtic have made a triple sub just about the hour mark, Paddy, as they often do. They certainly tend to make changes at that time, if not three at the same time. Hatate, O'Reilly and Kyogo go off, Rogic beat on and Giakoumakis come on. What did you think of those changes and the impact they had?
Johnny, who I sit next to, had said that's the three players he wanted off and the three players he wanted on. I think most in the stadium were thinking the same.
What Johnny says goes.
Johnny says goes. I think he's got a direct line to Ange. I thought all three come on and get stuck in. It's a very fast pace to catch up with the type of games, and I just thought that they bedded in fairly quickly. Couple of great touches for Tam for the get go, and I just thought I wasn't disappointed with Kyogo starting yesterday. I wasn't. I was happy that he started, and I would have been happy if GG started as well. I thought he was really, really good when he came on. He bullied Goldson, bullied him. His booking's very harsh.
That took him out of the game.
Aye, it did. I don't really know what for, to be honest.
He's getting filled all over the place and he gets the booking.
Yeah, but I just thought that was another thing for them to think about before they got their equaliser. I thought, we're going to go and get the second when the three players came on. Just been 1, 2, 3 passes goal from them, which that's a sucker punch, absolutely. But I still think that Giakoumakis is very clever. So when we were trying to obviously play from the back, a couple of times Hart decided, right, I'm playing it long to the big man, because he had the better of them.
Yeah.
And there's that one, he get manhandled down to the ground and he still got the pass. I think it was Abada maybe running on it. I'm not entirely sure, but just I thought that's what we kind of needed at that point in the game, and I thought he'd done very well.
It's food for thought because people were suggesting that would have been the move. I banged the drum for Kyogo, and I think it was right to start Kyogo, but I think you could see from Giakoumakis' introduction, he just gives him a completely different headache altogether. Goldson had a relatively trouble-free day, up until that point, and then when Giakoumakis came on, he just ragdolled him several times and caused them all sorts of grief, and definitely gives Ange a call to make, for the next one, whenever that may be.
Yeah, I mean, I think in looking at it retrospectively, Giakoumakis had more success against the backline than Kyogo did. So, in my opinion, I would have started Giakoumakis because he showed what he did just for that half hour, and we'd have seen more from him, but for his booking as well.
Me and some of the boys were talking about it yesterday on this one. So I would have liked to have seen either if Giakoumakis started, maybe O'Reilly alongside him. And if Kyogo, not up front with him, but along it as like the
feeder.
The feeder, and then the other way about with Kyogo and Rogic, because I think what Kyogo needs is a player, a ball through to him. He's not going to take it in the chest and bring it in, although he did do okay against Barisic at one point. Barisic. But I just think that Kyogo's looking to run on to good passes, and that's where I thought maybe O'Reilly was just a wee bit slow yesterday. And like I say, McGregor wasn't able to do much because he was covering for Hatate at points, and that final ball through to Kyogo was pretty much non-existent for a good point. Whereas, I just think maybe O'Reilly and Giakoumakis possibly have a strong partnership if the two of them had started as well. What a great dilemma to be in, but, in that sense.
Absolutely. I think you're right, Paddy. We've spoken across the season now about the various runs that Kyogo has made and not been found yet, and it remains to be seen who will go on to find them, in the next few games and next season. It continued to happen yesterday. You see it at the game, you've got a vantage point where you can see the run by Kyogo, you glance up and you go, if we can find him, he's in. And we've just not had that killer pass, and I'm sure that's something they'll continue to work on in terms of getting it through. Regarding Kyogo versus Giakoumakis, they are polar opposites at players, but both very good at each side of the scale. Giakoumakis does his physical thing and goal grabbing thing very well. Kyogo's got the finesse and the pace and the runs, and what a nice problem to have moving into next season.
Well, we've got two very good strikers, absolutely.
Do we need a third?
I was just going to say, third to come,
absolutely. We play a lot of games.
Is there someone to come in who's maybe not an out-and-out striker but can play the number 9 role?
Bio, he's not an out-and-out striker.
Get the Bio back.
Bring him home.
But somebody who's a bit of versatility can play striker or winger kind of thing, gives a bit more cover in that regard. Yeah,
because I think we've seen that Maeda isn't a striker. Maeda's a lot of things and he offers a lot of problems, but being a front man isn't his thing. He's missed another good chance, by the way, in the second half.
The one over the bar.
And an out-and-out striker, a number 9, he certainly had his target, but I gets the head over it. James, you made the point earlier on, it was all on Rangers to throw the kitchen sink at us on Sunday, and a 1-each draw is just about as much as they could muster. So you've seen the chat, I'm sure, just some of the general chat online about how, Rangers have gifted us the title and different things. The onus is on them to get 3 points yesterday. The onus is on them to beat us at Ibrox. The onus is on them not to get pumped 3-0 by us at Celtic Park in February. So I'm not sure how this can be, Celtic's fault, or this has been gifted to Celtic in any way. This is how league titles go. I don't think there's any doubt at all that Celtic are the best side in the country. And James, if you're not sure what metric to gauge this by, there's a handy wee thing called the league table. Really, really useful piece of kit. You'll get it on a lot of websites. This will tell you the following. Celtic are top scorers in the league with 81 scored versus Rangers 71, 10 goals of a difference. Celtic have conceded the least goals in the league with 20 conceded versus Rangers 29. We lead the league by 6 points with 86 points versus Rangers tally of 80. In addition to that, we've got 6 players in the PFA Team of the Year. Our captain, Callum McGregor, is the PFA Player of the Year. Our manager, Ange Postecoglou, is the PFA Manager of the Year. Liel Abada is PFA Young Player of the Year. And just for fun, Tom Rogic got goal of the season for his Maisie against Dundee United back in early December. Paddy, your thoughts?
Rangers should have won everything.
Clearly biased judges.
Clearly.
Do you know what I mean? But all these things, I'm jesting and stuff, but all these things are an indicator of the strongest team in the country, and it's not in doubt.
No, I mean, it's just sour grapes because, we spoke about it a few weeks ago that they didn't see this coming at all.
No.
They thought this was 2 in a row or 2 ever, all that kind of stuff. They just didn't think we were going to come and steal a march on them. And we have, even the recent swing, not talking about the whole season, but the swing from 7 points behind to 6 points ahead. That's our hard work. That's our consistency. It's got us there. It's not, nothing was gifted to us. We've taken everything we had to take.
Yeah, exactly that. The league table doesn't lie, Paddy. I've mentioned the various PFA awards there as well. These are voted for by the fellow professionals, the Professional Footballer Association. So it's not just guys like us saying Celtic are the best, all right, because we said it, Celtic are the best. It's the guys who play against them week in, week out that are making these calls.
I mean, like it's a huge testament to everyone at Celtic for where we are this season, for us to go and pick up those accolades as well. The most important ones, obviously, we know is the league, but to get that recognition and to kind of put it up against the questions that people are asking about this team is just even better. You know, it's a nice addition. Yeah,
it's easy, James, as a football fan, isn't it? Either when you're winning or losing, to get caught up in 90 minutes and to look at that. You mentioned, I don't know if it was on air or off air, but you know, the recency bias effect, that Rangers did finish the game stronger. Therefore, when the whistle goes, it's like we were so much better than them. It's absolutely a cliched game of two halves. Mm-hmm. You know, we should have been in 2, maybe 3-0 up at half time. We've had chances in the second half. I mentioned Maeda's, and therefore, when the whistle goes, you know, after such a game, it's easy for people to jump online and say, we're the best, so we're...
Aye, we battered you, you know, because of a strong 20 minutes. It wasn't a game of two halves, it was a game of 2/3 and a third, you know, so...
That's not the cliched, I remember.
It's a good book,
you know, we dominated it for 2/3 of the game and they came on strong at the end, so that was about it. So, wise up.
Yeah, I just think Celtic are doing a very good job of kidding on to be the best team in the country. We'll see.
Got us all fooled.
Out with the PFA awards, Paddy, Celtic had their own awards last night. So again, similar story in terms of the winners. Callum McGregor won Player of the Year, so that's voted for by the fans, as well as Players Player of the Year. And that's an interesting one because that's the one a player wants to win, isn't it? It's the ultimate accolade to get that recognition from your fellow teammates.
It's just a massive testament to, again, Callum McGregor, who has brought every single new signing in and those that have been still involved in the club and brought them all together for this season. And what a fight they've put in. We're still kind of, obviously, 3 games to go now. And it's just, they're all playing for each other. We can definitely see that. We speak about sometimes, like, we could maybe be a bit more aggressive. We could maybe kind of try and, like dictate the game in another way and kind of get up in people's faces. Some fans still kind of like that, but I generally think that this team has played football this season, and that's why we are where we are, and it's been great to watch. I just think we've been a joy. Every game we've seen is just, you know, a new style that we're really, really appreciating under this manager. But everything starts from McGregor for me. It's just, he's been so influential, and we spoke about how much we missed him in September last year. And just the run we've been on since he's come back, it's just shows you how good he is, how important he is.
You could even see the 3-0, getting him back for the 3-0 at Parkhead in the start of February there, against Rangers. That was huge. What a lift that gave everyone in the stadium, never mind his teammates. And we went on and blew them away. And that was, you know, largely for me because McGregor got himself back into the first 11.
Yeah. On that note, James, do you agree with the award then, Player of the Year and Players Player? Well, not that you've got a say in Players Player, actually. They'll give you a chance at that
I'm
one.
I'm starting to let that pipe dream go. I don't think it's going to happen for me.
We've got Jota's vote. Have we got James's vote?
You
agree with Player of the Year, though?
He was my pick for sure. Yeah, absolutely. No doubt.
Yeah.
There's other contenders, of course, but he was head and shoulders.
Yeah. Kyogo gets the top scorer award. I always do find that funny with a few games to go. You know, I think Giakoumakis has got 13, Kyogo 17, but Kyogo gets top scorer, and he's also got goal of the season for the League Cup final winner against Hibs, the second goal against Hibs. You agree with that one?
I picked who was it scored it now? Who scored the goal against St Johnstone? It was like everyone. Was it Giakoumakis scored it? O'Reilly scored it. Aye. Just everyone. You know, it was just Ange ball, writ large kind of thing. So that was my pick. But what a goal to win a cup final as well from Kyogo.
Tom Rogic, as I mentioned, Paddy, he got the PFA one for his Maisie against Dundee United. Kyogo's goal against Hibs. Both goals against Hibs actually exceptional, but any further thoughts on those?
I went for McGregor against Midtjylland for the Celtic one.
What a goal.
That deserved a win at the end of it, didn't it? It disappeared because of the disappointment of getting out.
The only time he's hit a shot on target this season.
I know, it should be terrible.
Yeah, it was a sweet finish. Abada picks up Young Player of the Year. I think by and large that's deserved. His stats are incredible to come into this country at such a young age and get so many goals and so many assists. He has been off form of recent, and I think that's fair to say. But over the piece, James, do you think it's deserved for what he's brought to the table?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's worth looking into kind of wingers' consistency. You know, is there such a thing? You know, do they have good runs and bad runs, and maybe he's just part of that. I've liked him since he started. I think he's a great talent. Again, there's a big summer ahead of him. A lot of work to be done. But yeah, I think he's going to be a talent for us for years to come.
Yeah. I think it is a huge summer for him, Paddy, because since Maeda's come in the door in January, he starts, more often than not. And generally the front three will be Maeda, Jota and striker, Kyogo or Giakoumakis, whoever Ange decides. Abada has found himself in the fringes all of a sudden, and I think he maybe has struggled to then come in and have a huge impact at different times. There's also been a lot asked of him in this, this first season here in Scotland. He's played maybe more games than he should have, maybe more than was planned for him. He's played through the middle at times, particularly when we went through a bit of a crisis, across Christmas. He scored some huge goals, scored some very important ones. He scored the very first goal competitively under Ange against Midtjylland, I think, at Celtic Park. He scored that massive goal against Dundee United to win 1-0. So he's absolutely played his part. Are you hopeful that he'll kick on again next season?
I don't have any doubt, to be honest. I think there is definitely a very good player there. Still learning his trade to an extent as well, and getting up to the speed of everything at Celtic. I think he'll have a good season for us next year. I think, as I say, obviously I said what I said about O'Reilly. I'd love to just hope that they all have a great pre-season, and there's not huge amounts of players that we need to bring in. Still definitely positions need to be filled, absolutely, but you want to kind of keep this squad together and start something with them and kind of have that as the focus for the next few seasons. On Abada yesterday, the one thing that really, really annoyed me is how close he was to Giakoumakis for the knock-on, which he ran in and scored.
He was offside.
He's offside. He's so close to Giakoumakis, and I'm just like, read the line, mate, read the line. That's the basics, and so easy to do when your opponent's right next to you, and
he doesn't need to be making that run. He can hold it. He's got all the space,
all the time in the world. Because then it's a great finish for him as well. It just goes in and frustrating.
But I think you're right. I think the hope is that as we get into this summer, rather than the turmoil of signing 15 players, which is a rarity at any club, you're hoping now it's just a few tweaks, couple out, couple in, couple out, couple in over the X weeks of the transfer window in summer, and it's just small adjustments, James, to fine tune what Ange's currently doing.
Yeah, and I think it's a wee bit of further depth in the squad. I think we need to sign a left back, and Taylor will be your very able backup to that. But I think we need a Juranovic level left back if we're going to kick on. But it's getting your Barkas, controversial one maybe, Julian, all these kind of guys who they're not contributing and they're not going to contribute, so let's change them out. And if you can get 4 or 5 of those guys out and off the wage bill, some of them in big earners as well, then you can bring maybe 3 or 4 guys in who are genuinely going to contribute every week. Yeah,
I think that'll be the plan. Just going back to award night, very nice touch, Paddy. There was a special recognition award for Wim Jansen, which his family were there to collect, so nice to see that after Wim sadly passed away earlier this year. And we've touched on it at the time, but you can't deny the huge impact he had back in 98 and setting the wheels in motion for what we're currently seeing. He's played a huge part in Celtic's modern history.
Yeah, it instilled belief again in the club. He really did. And we were all so gutted to lose him at the end of his first season. But what a massively important figure for us. And obviously, a young age for me when he went on. And
Aye, all right.
But a young age for me when he went and stopped the 10. But I'll remember it as clear as day, and that's how pivotal it was for this club.
Happy memories of him, James?
Absolutely. I mean, very, very happy memories. And it was just that, don't look now, it's the 90s, and that was it, kind of stopping kind of thing. He came in and set it right. And like you say, he set the groundwork for what came ahead, and that's when Rangers started to do silly things financially.
Yeah.
So thanks, Wim.
Thanks for that. But yeah, nice touch, nice of Celtic to recognise Wim's achievements, and nice of his family to be there. I believe Paul Lambert also said some very kind words, so good to see. In general terms, awards are great, and I'm sure the players have picked them up, delighted to do so and honoured. But what you have seen, you'll have seen some of the quotes today, I'm sure, is that when they're all, speaking about it and, thanking people for voting them, they keep referring back to the group. This wouldn't be possible without it's like the Oscars, isn't it? Tom Rogic, I think, talking at the PFA thing, for example, was saying it could be any one of a number of guys up here. I'm delighted to be here picking up this award for goal of the season, but it's still due to the work of my teammates, and that's the ethic. And it's not this isn't staged, Paddy. It's not fake. It's how they genuinely believe that the team unit is far more important than the individual.
It's definitely not staged, and it's Will Smith's not coming up and slapping him in the face. It's this is the reality that they've set, and it's all down to the hard work that they've all created. Put in, and they've created a great team spirit, which is, like I'm saying, is something we just need to kick on with. You want players joining this team and settling very, very quickly. But as I've said many times in this, a full pre-season is going to be huge for us. I think it's going to be great.
But just on that, the team spirit thing, you're get a full pre-season and you're building on that really strong base. We watched them a few times actually, games, but McGregor pre-match taking the guys through their paces. They're just so tuned into him, and they're all working for each other. It's amazing what Ange has done, picking that captain and getting that message in, right from the start and all the way through this season.
Couple of good wee points though from yesterday. I was kind of thinking about McGregor's obviously the one that's going to dictate during the game. He's going to talk to the players, but they all take a turn at it with each other as well. So like the three at the back with Hart, Cameron, Carter Vickers and Starfelt, the three of them chat at every opportunity given. But what I liked about yesterday was Greg Taylor could have played a different pass, and McGregor was right on him.
I saw that, yeah.
But Taylor gave back in a sense that, look, I'd done that, and then it was just like an acceptance, right, come on then, let's just keep the head in the game. And that's kind of, obviously, leaders need to be challenged. And what you want to see is just what the reaction is from all of these players, and I just think that it's good, it's healthy for what they're doing. I
agree with that, and I think it's a two-way street. What you wouldn't want is some dictator type captain who's just barking out orders and saying, my way or the highway, this is how we do it. And I didn't see that instant with Greg Taylor, but I think if it's him or anyone else having a wee bit back, fighting their corner, putting their point across, but then between the two of them, putting it to bed and then saying, that's now done, we move on. And I touched on it earlier on with Ralston. As soon as something's done, you move on. The time to work on that is Monday at training, not on Saturday, halfway through a game. So I think it's good that they've got this dialogue between them, but they've also got the mentality just to skip on to the next part of the game.
Yeah, I think where McGregor was more focusing on that particular, and maybe a different one, but there was one where Taylor didn't invert, which makes it harder for Maeda to have his options. And I think he was saying, where you need to be. So maybe Taylor the reason why he was covering something else, but Ange wants that inversion, so that's what he was reminding him of.
He was targeted again yesterday, Taylor, with a long ball, and I think he won every header.
Yeah, he did really well.
He was really good against it, and they've done that to him every time they've played. Played us this season. So fair play to Taylor yesterday.
Fair play for a number of reasons, just stepping up mentally and embracing everything Ange is trying to do. And we covered that last week, but whether Taylor and Ralston have the quality or not, but listen, the challenge is there for them. Ange will give them every chance, but what they have done is stepped up, and more often than not, when required, they've answered all the critics this season. So fair play to both of those lads. James, I was just going to finish this piece just talking about individual trophies and all being well and good, but the real focus now is the big trophy, the Scottish Premiership trophy, and that's where all the focus will be for Callum McGregor and his teammates.
Yeah, it's a funny one, because nothing's done till it's done, but it is done. It's so strange.
Hold on a minute. Let's just rewind. Nothing's done till it's done, but it's done.
But do you know what I mean? I've never
it's
really...
a game of 2/3 and a third.
I know, it's a game of 2/3 and a third and it's done.
I've never really felt this way coming at the end of a season, because you're going to do it. There's no way they're going to... We need to lose all 3 games, I think, technically.
Heavily.
Aye.
7
So you're going to do it. It's just a strange feeling. Like I say, coming up to the ground yesterday, it was kind of anticipation, and that's still excellent, and we hope we just kind of push on and get it done early. It's going to mean potentially a kind of Dundee United away title winning, but then we'll get it back to Celtic as a Motherwell at Park on the 14th.
Hearts on Saturday, Dundee United a week on Wednesday, and then Motherwell on the
14th.
11th. No?
Motherwell 14th.
Sorry, Dundee United 11th, Motherwell 14th. It is a strange headspace, James, because you're just about there, but you're not there. So you don't want to jump the gun. Paddy, as I mentioned there, it's Hearts at Celtic Park on Saturday. It's a 12 noon kick-off. Again, the win doesn't guarantee the league mathematically, and I think, as always, Ange and the players will just be fully focused on get the 3 points, and what will be after that.
Yeah, I think it'll be a difficult game on Saturday. More just down to the point that it's Hearts. They'll want to try and come up against us, but also this is probably their marker for where they need to be for the final against Rangers. So I think they'll set up quite strong against us. From what I heard, they kind of rested a few at the weekend, and they've kind of taken the foot off the gas a wee bit in their last few games because they're not going to do anything else other than finish third. So yeah, I think it would be quite a hard game, but that's, you need to win every game. You need to go in and believe that you can do it, and we certainly can beat them. I don't have much worries. I think for me against Hearts, I'd like to see Giakoumakis start. I think against their back line, he's bullied them before, and I just think he'll be huge. And Celtic Park on Saturday, we'll be right behind that team, just to push them over the line because we're so close now.
Yeah. James, as Paddy says, it won't be an easy game, and Hearts they've clearly been the third force in the country this season. I think there's a 17-point gap between them and Dundee United in fourth. They've got a Scottish Cup final to look forward to. Whether they rest players or not, it'll be a tough game, and anyone that's playing for Hearts will want to show that they're worthy of a place in the Cup final, so it'll be a tough one.
I think we'll absolutely demolish them.
Okay. Moving on. We'll cover the Dundee United game now.
And what third?
All four of them.
Jeez, I'd worked in my script there. I'd built it all up, Paddy. 17 points, third best in the country. Done.
I think Angela of them just so up for it, because get these two games out of the way, you're champions that nobody thought you could be. So I think they'll just go and blow them away.
Right, yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Sorry for being a positive Celtic fan.
Paddy, in terms of how Celtic approach it, should there be any notable changes? So we've spoken about Hatate. He would seem the obvious one, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
And there's options there. We've debated about, Turnbull. We've not seen much of Gucci. Beaton's around, but there are options. So it's not like Ange's got nobody to choose from. He can make some changes if he wants to. So Hatate would seem the obvious one. And there is the ongoing Kyogo Giakoumakis debate, and I think that will rumble on as long as those two guys are both fit. Yeah. Because I don't see Ange playing them both together. I don't think that works.
Suggested that doesn't work.
So I think it's one or t'other, and as long as those two guys are at Celtic, that'll be the debate.
True. I kind of like to see him try it though.
3-5-2.
Aye, something. Why not? Maybe not. Obviously,
a 4-2-4. Just fire them up there and see what happens.
See what happens. Gung ho.
Yeah.
But no, I think. I definitely think that the two of them could possibly work, whether it's maybe even Furuhashi just coming in off the left. Obviously, I think he's a lot more wasted out there, definitely, but I think it would be good to see him up top all the time. But I'm pretty sure one of the games, can't remember who it was, but they brought Maeda in kind of next to Giakoumakis, and it looked all right, it didn't look out of shape in any way.
They two seem to click quite well. What I would say about Kyogo, I just think any level of football, you should always play to your player's strength. Mm-hmm. And I think, I don't want to be too dismissive, but I think when Kyogo goes out on the left, he's murder.
Right.
Aye.
I think he looks a bit all at sea. And see, when you're asking him to get the ball out his feet and link up and find a pass or a cross, it's not his game. No. You're asking somebody to do something that they're not comfy at. His best thing is latching onto chances and being alert and, being technically gifted in and around the box. Giakoumakis is a different skill set that we've spoken about. And yeah, as much as if required, Ange might throw them in or he might test the water with it pre-season. I don't think it's a move from what we've seen of these guys. I just think Celtic will play with a number 9 and it'll be one or the other, and that'll just be the way that moves forward.
But it's not even really a debate to be had, because you're going to see them, said last week, you're going to see them both anyway. One will get 60, one will get 30, and it's a totally different challenge for the defenders to handle when they've had a big guy, roughing them up, and then a wee guy coming on to nip around about them, or vice versa. So that's going to be the style of that. Maybe if there's some kind of experiment in pre-season games or something, we could try 3-5-2. But I'm delighted to have that switch in every game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe the bigger challenge of that will be keeping both guys happy. Because see, if you're a number 9, you want all the minutes to get all the goals you can. That's just how you live as a striker. It's all about clocking up your tally. And I think even Kyogo didn't have a great game yesterday, but disappointed to go off, accepting of the fact that he's gone off, but you could see he was disappointed. And Giakoumakis, you can tell by the way he carried himself, he won't be happy to be a sub more often than not. So, but what I would say on that note is that Ange has shown man management wise across this season that he has the skill set to keep a squad happy and keep that harmony, and I think he'll do his work in that area.
I think that team spiritedness we spoke about earlier on bleeds into this a lot. I mean, when we got our goal yesterday, Giakoumakis was going bananas on the bench, so he's up for it and he's into the team spirit of all. I think that is what's going to keep players happy, and knowing that that's not your position, that's yours and your competitor's position for that spot, and it'll always be that way.
Yeah.
It's not like it's going to change. So I'm happy with it, and it seems most of the players are as well.
Kind of goes back to what Ange was saying earlier on in the season. He says he doesn't have backups. Everyone's involved in the team. Everyone plays a part of the full squad, and I don't think there's many sitting there unhappy, unless obviously they're the ones that just they're ready to leave. Yeah, but I generally believe that it's more a case of, like I said earlier on, it's two very good strikers, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're told that we play week in, week out here. It's a fast-paced game. We've got Europe, and we've got all the cup competitions, which we are, in a sense, expected to go and try and win at every attempt. You will be used. Yeah. And I just think that's possibly the selling mark that Celtic have to give to not just the strikers, but to all the players that join.
You're right, there's about 60 games a season at Celtic.
It used to be 35 and stuff like that, so it's totally changed.
There is lots of football to be played, and you can't get by with one striker, one right back, one centre half, whatever. So yeah, as I say, I'm confident that Ange will be saying the right things to players to keep them all fully motivated. I'd mentioned there briefly, just the next three fixtures. Obviously, Hearts first of all, Tannadice on Wednesday 8th of May, and then back to Celtic Park to face Motherwell on the 11th. But I've got a feeling that Ange and the players won't even have entertained those other two games. All the focus must surely be on Hearts.
Yeah, the reason they've been so successful is they've kept that steely focus on the next game in every competition. They've not let their eyes drift on the horizon. So that's all it'll be. Go and win that one, and then we'll start to prepare for the next one. So nothing will change there.
Yeah.
Apart from the dates that you got wrong.
The dates, they will change to the
1999 calendar there.
Just as we're starting to wrap this one up, just a wee bit of AOB, which I thoroughly enjoyed today. Did you see Dan Tosney's reply on Twitter to Ewan Murray?
No.
Check it out, Paddy, it is beautiful. Okay. So Ewan Murray, the journalist, who always likes to have a wee snidey at Celtic for some reason.
Stick to golf.
But why?
Yeah.
Just enjoy excellence.
So not sure, but he seems to pick his moments, and he basically came out today and said, listen, what Ange has done this year, yeah, it's all well and good, but hardly a miracle. Cue Dan Tosney on Twitter, good guy, replying with a headline from a Ewan Murray article earlier in the season which states, Postecoglou will need to work a miracle to deny Rangers another title, and absolutely clamps them. And it was beautiful to see. But that's the thing, isn't it? Celtic are within touching distance of this title, sweeping the boards with all the awards, and some people, for some reason, still feel the need to just put their wee bit in.
It's a horrible way to live your life, isn't it? Just no joy.
Yeah, it's just a strange approach. But check it out, Paddy, after the show. It'll brighten up your evening. James, 35 games done, 3 to go. What are you saying as we start to wrap this one up for the day?
It's not done till it's done, but it's done.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah, we've been really fortunate. It's one of the best seasons of football I've ever seen as a Celtic fan. I've thoroughly enjoyed every moment of it. I've never looked forward to games as much as I do, and maybe there's a bit of kind of COVID comes into that as well, kind of getting back to football and whatever. But Ange and the players have given us so much to be happy with, and another couple of games and it's done. Yeah,
Ange has given you your love of football back. Is that fair? Paddy, we're on the home straight. How are you feeling?
It's been natural order for this team in my lifetime that we've dictated everything, and I think probably this one would be the sweetest.
Yeah,
that's it.
Sorry, but you in your young lifetime, we had to get through the 90s and all that.
Oh, don't start that, pal.
Shenanigans.
Celtic does here.
So Ange and Celtic are back at Celtic Park on Saturday, and we'll be looking to prove beyond doubt that we're the best team in the country. Hearts stand in their way, and we know that won't be an easy one, but don't bet against Giakoumakis & Co. getting the job done to secure an incredible 10th Scottish League title in 11 years. Thanks to James and Paddy for joining me today, and thanks to you for your continuing support of the Celtic Exchange. If you're enjoying the show and want to help us spread the word, please share this episode far and wide with your Celtic supporting pals. It really goes a long way to helping us do what we do. But in the meantime, and as always, thanks for tuning in.